10 minutes. That's how fast a meal can be in America. 85 million Americans consuming fast food daily. This $330 billion industry itself is literally feeding the USA. And it's also changing this country. But the question is, how did it start? Why does no one ever try to stop it? McDonald's, the world's most infamous and biggest fast food chain, worth $220 billion in estimate today. There are more than 41,000 McDonald's restaurants around the world. In Europe, France alone has 1,560 McDonald's restaurants open daily. In the Sino-Pacific area, China is the leader with 6,820 restaurants of this chain. Brazil and Latin American countries are also in the lead with 1,173 of McDonald's stores. However, they seem to be too small compared to 13,500 McDonald's stores in the USA. Once to 3 times a week. That's how often the average American visits fast food stores, from research from the Barbecue Lab. Within 5 years, from 2019 to 2024, this industry had growth of 1.5% yearly. Even the number of U.S. citizens going to church, the gym, or having access to internet can't be compared to the fast food consumers yearly. Fast food is like a dark magic spell. Once you fall for it, you can never go back. In 1802, U.S. President Thomas Jefferson introduced his favorite meal to his people, French fries. Over 140 years later, Ray and Mac McDonald introduced it to their menu, making it the most popular dish across the USA. Up to today, they served over 4 trillion fries to their customers. Not a single American can escape the affection of fast food. From Taylor Swift.
What would you order at a drive-thru?
Cheeseburger, fries, chocolate shake.
Warren Buffett.
At my 6th birthday party, when we had hot dogs and hamburgers and Coke and ice cream with chocolate, I still like it.
Even recent U.S. President Donald Trump.
We have pizzas, we have 300 hamburgers, many French fries.
But that's not the only power of fast food. They're not cooked like they're designed to be. McDonald's, Taco Bell, even KFC use psychology data to maximize your taste experience. Fast food always contains a golden ratio of fat, sugar, and salt, making sure you'll always feel satisfied more than ever. In the book Salt, Sugar, Fat, ex-marketing chief of an infamous fast food, Michael Moss has written, "We don't sell food, we're selling the satisfaction." But it comes with a price. Nowadays, 42% of Americans have obesity conditions, with more than 30 million people living with type 2 diabetes. A National Cancer Institute's research in 2019 showed that consuming too much fast food, especially high in fat and processed meats, can increase the risk of colorectal and stomach cancer by up to 20%. Healthcare pricing for unhealthy eating habits, including fast food, is estimated to be $147 billion per year. Don't forget to also account for the productivity losses caused by illness, which result in an additional loss of around 66 billion USD. But against all odds, fast food growth rates don't seem to stop. It controls one of the most powerful countries in the world in an unstoppable way. But how? First of all, let's see where fast food comes from. The definition of fast food is simply pre-cooked food. It appeared in the beginning of ancient civilizations, where humans gathered, settled, and had commercial growth. In ancient Egypt, food stalls by the river Nile usually sold bread, roasted fish, and beverages. Their customers are likely to be the workmen and the merchants. In ancient Greek and Roman empires, there are fast food stalls called thermopolia. They're serving soup, bread, roasted meat, usually for the poor or people who don't have their own kitchen at home. The thermopolium can be considered as the earliest version fast food store. Or even in ancient China, steamed buns, fired cakes, or mantu are widely selling too. However, fast food hasn't changed for centuries. Until the 19th century, the fast food we know nowadays was born as a result of people's needs. After witnessing the boom of the Industrial Revolution for some time, major cities experienced miraculous growth. Millions of workers found themselves in major cities such as New York, Chicago, or London to make ends meet. They have to work tirelessly in very long shifts. In research, a worker found himself working 60 to 70 hours a week. Heavy industries such as textile mills, steel production, or shipbuilding required workers to put in 65 to 75 hours per week. Those workers don't have much time to rest and have to eat their meals right at their workplace. And the need for cheap, convenient kind of food raised from there. Food stalls stormed the streets. They were everywhere, around the corner to the factories, stations, harbors, even poverty settlements, most of them owned by immigrants from Germany, Italy, and Ireland. Their traditional dishes, being Americanized, allowed for easier mass production and to serve large numbers of poor laborers. Today, hamburger can be traced back to a dish called Hamburg steak, which is a roasted ground meat belonging to German immigrants. Hot dogs are also a great example for a German-origin fast food, which is Frankfurt sausage or Wiener. They were first sold at the baseball stadiums and on the streets of New York. After some time, serving processes became standardized. These dishes eventually reached a serving speed fast enough to be called fast food. But that wasn't a good enough explanation. The explosion of processed foods made hygiene control a matter of survival. After the 1890s, the pure food movement emerged in the US to protect consumers from dirty and harmful food. This led restaurants and diners to begin standardizing ingredients, food preparation, staff uniforms, and the service process. Alongside this, they started using wax paper, paper bags, and paper cups to make food more portable. In 1902, the food chain called Horn and Hardart in Philadelphia introduced what they called Automat. The customer only had to put a coin in the machine and get their hot food. Automats are quick, cheap, and clean, and could serve up to 1,000 meals a day. More than that, it laid the foundation for the birth of White Castle, the pioneer of the modern fast food industry. A burger here is only 5 cents. And it's introduced a business philosophy centered on uniformity, affordability, and convenience. As the US speeds up, fast food is moving along the way. San Bernardino, California, the first ever McDonald's store was born here in 1940. However, the turning point only came 8 years after they introduced the Speedy Service System. This is an automatic kitchen system, which helped reduce customers' waiting time to less than a minute. Within 20 years, the number of McDonald's stores increased from 100 in 1959 to more than 6,000 in the late 80s. Fast food is everywhere, from the movies, TV, advertising targeted at children and families. It's a new standard of convenience, affordable and Americanized for modern life. Fast food was clearly not first introduced in America, but only America could make it the greatest of all time. So, what's the difference? The first answer, and the easiest answer, is geography and America's infrastructure. The United States has a territory of nearly 10 million square kilometers, making it the third largest country in the world. After World War II, the country witnessed a massive migration from cities to nearby suburban areas. This was the result of various economic, political, social, and cultural factors at the time. From 1946 to 1964, the U.S. entered the baby boom era, during which 76 million children were born. Families needed more space for their children, and the major cities couldn't provide what they needed. Suburbia, on the other hand, provided them with cheap real estate, quiet in nature just a few steps from their house. Moreover, as early as 1944, the federal government introduced various incentives to help veterans buy homes with low-interest loans and no down payment required. After World War II, millions of U.S. troops came marching home. More than 8 million U.S. vets benefited from this policy, and the majority bought home in the suburbs. The suburbs' population raised from 19.5% in the 50s to 50% in the 2000s. But there's a problem. They have to work in the city every day. Residential areas themselves were vast, making it impossible to get around on foot. To address this issue, in 1956, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed the Federal Aid Highway Act, which led to the creation of the interstate highway system, over 75,000 kilometers of arterial roads connecting the entire country. As a result, cars became an essential part of everyday life. From 1950 to 1970, car ownership rates skyrocketed. Commuting long distances by car each day left Americans with little time to enjoy slow, leisurely meals. Their life from here was meant to be along with their car, and fast food exploded as a complimentary service, convenient enough making the driver to not leave their seat for a second. Fast food chains like McDonald's, Burger King, and Dairy Queen established their outlets at highway rest stops or near major traffic intersections. Fast food was not only consumed, but also became an important part of the national traffic system. But not only suburbs or highways, Even US urban infrastructure was born for fast food to shine too. Differing from Europe, where cities developed before the automobile era and are filled with narrow, old streets, modern American cities were designed to be flat and spacious. Walking became uncommon due to vast space, making fast food restaurants with large parking lots the ideal choice. A French restaurant might have 10 tables, but a McDonald's could serve 10 times that number of customers. In the 80s, a McDonald's drive-thru had an average serving of 144 cars per hour. America not only invented modern fast food, but also built an entire nation optimized for its growth. Vast land, cars, highways, and one of the world's most advanced logistics systems, fast food in the US can be considered a product of geography. But in another aspect, it could be a result of culture and lifestyle. Fast food, as its name suggests, is serving a lifestyle based on quickness and speed. That lifestyle is the product of an infamous concept, the American dream. But what's the American dream? The Oxford Dictionary defines the American dream as the belief that the United States offers the opportunity for a good and successful life achieved through hard work. This term of concept was coined by writer and historian James Truslow Adams in his 1931 book, The Epic of America. In his book, it said, "That dream of a land in which life should be better, richer, and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement." However, the concept of the American dream originated earlier. It was expressed in the Declaration of Independence in 1776, which states, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." The American dream emphasizes the path to success through individual effort. Every American must work harder for their dream life. None of them care about personal indulgence and leisure. More than 134 countries in the world limit the maximum number of working hours per week. America, however, wasn't one of them. 86% of males and more than 66% of females work more than 40 hours a week. Many people believe that Japan has the most stressful working environment in the world. But in reality, an American works an average 137 hours of extra time compared to the Japanese. Compared to the UK and France, the gap is even wider, 260 and 499 hours more per year, respectively. This excessive busyness among American workers is also reflected in the psychological issues they're facing. As per the American Psychological Association, 64% of Americans believe that working is their main source of stress. 70% said they don't have enough time to do everything they need in a day, according to Gallup's survey. To wrap it up, time is money for the American, and eating a good meal is taking a back seat in their life. For that reason, their meal must be fast, convenient, and must not interrupt their schedule. According to Gallup, 76% of Americans have their dinner in less than 30 minutes, while 1/3 said they usually take their meal on the go. That's hardly a more perfect solution than fast food in such context. Finally, the spirit of personalization and individualism can also be seen as a deep-rooted reason why Americans favor fast food. To fully understand this, historical roots, Enlightenment philosophy, political ideas can be traced, to know how these have permeated into their daily life, especially eating habits. From the moment the first settlers left Europe and came to the New World, they brought with them the will of abandoning the feudal system, the church's monopoly in search of personal freedom. They built a society where each individual is responsible for their own life. That was later reflected in the Declaration of Independence. The pursuit of happiness emphasizes the right of self-determination and independence. Individualism was thus formed and became a solid foundation in American philosophy. In the book Self-Reliance, 1841, Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "Basically, this is a call to trust on one's own intuition, without having to conform to any collective norms." Alexis de Tocqueville in Democracy in America observed, "American citizens isolate themselves from family and friends, caring only for themselves and those closest to them. Individualism gradually influenced every aspect of life, including eating habits. Fast food from there serves all the demands of every individual. Customizable combos, small, medium, and large meals, multiple choices of drinks, meats, and toppings. Eat anywhere, anytime without sitting with anyone. They're designed to maximize the personal choice over time, money, and individual needs. Americans choose fast food not only for its convenience, but also to reflect their core values. I choose what I want. I don't need anyone to cook for me. I don't need to sit with anyone to feel myself valued. Therefore, fast food in America is the embodiment of individualism, shaped throughout their history of exploration, their own philosophy, and the modern urbanization. No matter how many problems or dangers arise, Americans will surely never give up fast food. America is subdued by fast food, binding the nation's destiny tightly to it. So, is it an exaggeration if someone says that fast food is the most powerful force in the world?